Welcome to the Mindfulness Series. I am Amy Lohr, and I'm really excited to be able to offer this to you. Just a short series, 3 weeks, 3 different videos featuring different mindfulness practices on specific topics. So this is designed to be a support and adjunct to any other work or services or treatment that you're receiving, and certainly is not a replacement for mental health treatment or any other kind of treatments that you may need. So please make sure that you're taking care of yourself and seeking the services you need, especially if these mindfulness practices brings anything up for you. Please be aware of your limits and not taking yourself beyond where you feel able to kind of confront or deal with certain emotional experiences. So, I always say take it slow, easy, and simple, and really focus on building these practices. You got to start out small with creating the muscle memory, if you will, and the habits of bringing these practices into your life. So that's really the design, and then trusting that as you have more of a habit of this way of thinking and being and relating with yourself, that when things get difficult, it's really easy to just fall into and utilize some of those positive habits. Many times we're looking at those habits needing to be about developing a kind and friendly and compassionate relationship with yourself. So at the core, my hope is that as you go through these 3 weeks, that you're always coming back to that, no matter what you're doing, to try to hold that intention of developing that kind and compassionate relationship with yourself. If you need any additional support with that, you may want to take a look at my video on offering yourself a hand, a practice that I developed and titled that way to support people in developing more self-compassion. Just like you would offer a hand either physically or metaphorically to a friend who's having a rough time, you're learning how to offer that hand to yourself when you're having a rough time, and build that kind and friendly attention and relationship with yourself. So through that, you develop the grounds and foundation for any of your personal growth work. If you're not a friend through that healing process to yourself, then your nervous system is not going to trust what you're trying to do. So your nervous system is going to resist that. You're going to resist and react to anything that isn't really kind or friendly. So the interesting piece with that is that we can also learn to be kind and friendly to the parts of ourselves that are judgmental or harsh or critical. So there's much, much more that we can talk about with all of that. But that's a bit of the foundational pieces of compassion that are quite integral into any mindfulness practices. So if you take a look at concepts of radical acceptance, you can research and take a look at some of those concepts. Both in psychology, but also even in, there's Tara Brach who speaks about radical acceptance, has a book on this and a website as well. And that concept is kind of relevant within some of this work that I facilitate for folks too. So please keep all of that in mind. What you can expect as you're going through this series is that the videos are going to be brief. So generally, we're keeping them no longer than 15 minutes, between 10 and 15 minutes, so that this is not a burden for you to bring into your life. And you're going to be introduced to a specific mindfulness practice that you can continue to practice each day throughout that week. And then the next week will be a new practice and a new topic. So week 1, will be mindfulness practices focused on fear. Week 2 will be focused on mindfulness practices around addressing self-neglect. And then week 3 is mindfulness practices centered around shame and being able to deal with shame. So you can always expect that the approach in relating to your inner experience with all of this is from a place of compassion. And also at each week, at the start of each video, I'm also going to present a few questions or concepts for you to reflect on that topic for that week. So this is also designed to help you increase your awareness to the ways that that issue is kind of showing up into your life. And that's also going to give you the information or content for you to guide and practice your mindfulness practices daily. So it'll help you be aware of, I'm having this particular issue pop up in my life around fear. And when you practice your mindfulness practices that day, you can focus it in on that specific issue. So it'll help it to be very relevant to the present and what's happening in your life today. It's really important that if there's things really intense coming up, that you start out with picking events or situations that maybe have a lower intensity. So if 1 to 10 on a scale, 10 being the highest, you're looking at a 5 or less than that, maybe the first few times starting at something that's at a 3 or a 4. This is going to keep you from maybe being too flooded or overwhelmed before you actually really start introducing and utilizing some of the practices. You want to have a bit more skills under your belt before you approach something that might be more difficult. Now, of course, sometimes it's hard to anticipate when you might get flooded or overwhelmed. So using your grounding practices and techniques, if you're not familiar with that, you can certainly search and do a Google search for grounding meditation to teach you some of those practices if you're not familiar. But really just focusing in on your senses, what you sense with your eyes, with your ears, with your touch. Bring yourself present into this moment. Before I conclude this video, I'm going to teach you a quick grounding technique that might be helpful for you throughout this series. And you're always welcome to take a look at any of my other videos that are free access on my YouTube channel. There's a video on getting unstuck. I think it's titled, Are You Frustrated, Tired, or Annoyed? And gives you these techniques of offering yourself a hand, attending to the roots, and calling yourself back. So you can take a look at that webinar as well. So plenty of resources if you ever need help or want assistance from me to go deeper into this work, or if too much comes up, I'm happy to assist you as well. So let's get into just a quick grounding technique. So go ahead and close your eyes for a moment. Take 1 deep breath in and a long breath out. 1 more deep breath in. Long breath out. Last one, deep breath in. And a long breath out. This next breath, you're going to take a deep breath in with the intention of breathing into your adult present self. Deep breath into the adult person that you are today. All of your resources, all of your abilities, all the things you've survived, all your capacity in the adult that you are today. everything that's brought you up to this point, that you've become resilient to, what's brought you to this video series as an adult, breathing into your resourcefulness. Taking a deep breath into your adult self in this moment. Opening your eyes and taking a look at your hands and seeing that these are your adult hands. See the wrinkles and the shape of your hands and size of your hands. These are my adult hands. I'm here in this adult body, and I'm safe and I'm okay. Looking around to the room, seeing with your eye that there's nothing unsafe or dangerous happening in this moment. And bringing to the awareness of whether I'm safe or unsafe right now, I am resourceful. I have choices. So even if there's a part of you that says, yeah, but to that safety, you can affirm, I still have choices right here in this moment. I can choose to breathe. I can choose to exhale. To breathe in to my resourcefulness. I can exhale and release any tension. Right now, I'm taking care of myself the best way I can. I'm safe. I'm okay. And saying, keeping in mind as we go through this series and in this moment, saying the things that are true for you. Maybe there's some things that are said that are too hard to repeat or don't resonate or ring true. Then pass it up and go on to the next thing. This is not about forcing yourself. There's too much of that in our lives. This is truly about your truth and what's supporting and uplifting for you and encouraging you in your path. So that practice, I took you through it kind of quickly there. Feel free to take a moment after we conclude with this video, just to come back to that and practice that a little bit. So you're learning how to just root into the very present moment. So often our mind's attention, our emotional attention, even some of our physical memory held in our body is elsewhere. It's in the future, it's in the past, it's in what happened earlier this day. It's not really in this very moment where you're being attentive and you're being caring and you're being compassionate. So that's all we're doing when we're grounding. We're centering your focus in here and now. And from that place, you then have the steadiness and the foundation to make contact with whatever else you might be experiencing inside or you might be wanting to address as we're looking at your fears or we're looking at your shame or your areas of self-neglect. You can always, always come back to this present moment with this technique. So, and you can pause any other deeper investigation or exploration or experiencing those emotions. So you're training yourself. You're learning how to regulate that intensity by coming back to this moment, by soothing, nurturing, and caring for yourself, and using your breath and using some of those affirmations, guiding your attention with your senses. That's how you're gonna come back into this moment. So I hope that that was helpful, and I hope that you really enjoy this mindfulness series, and hope to hear from you about how it goes. So feel free to reach out to me. You can take a look at my website, amylohr.com, amylohr.com, amylohr.com. Check me out, reach out to me if you need any assistance. All right.